Hi, I'm Kristine Harding and I'm the FY17 NCARB President. I work at KPS Group and I'm the Group Manager and Vice President of the Huntsville office. I was born in St. Peter, Minnesota, moved to Fairbanks, Alaska 6 months later, ended up in Houston, Texas. That's where I consider where I grew up, and then ultimately went to school there. Mainly the reason why I wanted to be an architect was because my mother always had the idea of designing a home. She was always drawing on graph paper, and so I did too. I wanted to be an architect ever since I could remember. I went to Rice University in Houston, Texas. I was awarded an athletic scholarship in volleyball, and when they asked me what I wanted to study, I said, I want to study architecture. Fortunately, Rice University had a NAB accredited architecture program.
I had two friends at architecture school that tried to play varsity sports and they just couldn't do it. It just took too much time.
It was difficult. I had to make every hour count, and I think that that's one of the reasons why I am so organized, because I just knew that I had to make everything work, and I learned that very early in college.
The tenacity to go to school and then have to practice volleyball in the afternoon and then have to come back and go to the design lab at night and then get up the next morning and go to school, that takes a special person.
Right after graduation, my first job was in Dallas, Texas. I worked for Frank Welch and Associates. I arrived in Huntsville in 1989. I think Huntsville is a very innovative community. You'll see images that are really iconic, the Saturn V rocket and the space industry that really sets Huntsville aside. I ultimately was licensed in 1992, and that's when Billy Heron was serving on the Board of Architects, and he found out prior to me finding out.
I was at a board meeting. They notified the board first.
I thought, oh my goodness, I've never been called to the boss's office. What does he want with me? And I sat down, and just with trepidation, he said, well, I just wanted to let you know that you passed in your license. And I squealed really loud.
It scared most of the people in the office. They didn't know what was going on.
As you can imagine, I was thrilled because it'd been quite a path, and that was my ultimate accomplishment. The airport was the first project that I ever worked on, and we have continued to work for them since 1989. Airports are constantly changing. They're a little bit like doing hospital work. There's always something to update. We're currently doing crystal passenger boarding bridges, and we're one of the first airports in the Southeast to provide those. What you truly love doing is going to come out in the work and the solutions that you have. The Clearview Cancer Institute was designed with the patient in mind. So we've got a canopy similar to what you see at the airport, and also a drive that comes up where you could drop patients off and they've got easy access. Sometimes the patients are there for almost 8 hours a day. And so we had to design the space so that patients are able to sit and see outside to the garden atmosphere, and to really be able to think about things other than the treatment that they're going through. The National Children's Advocacy Center was started as a place to provide children who had gone through child abuse with the right services. The city, for $1, gave property that had an old stone armory building on it, and our solution updated and preserved the armory building. As an architect, it's one of the most important things to have a social responsibility, because it allows you to have the ability to give back to the community.
When there was an opening for the registration board in the state of Alabama, I encouraged her to apply.
I knew that it was something that I wanted to carry on that he had done.
I was always impressed with how thorough she is, her knowledge of our state laws as well as model law.
The committee work that we do really pushes NCARB forward in everything that we do as an organization.
She will listen to what everybody says, but then once she makes up her mind, she's been really good about explaining the context of a decision or a policy that the board is considering.
President Ward has been asking for blue sky ideas of how to work on the benefits of the certificate. I get to implement them this coming year.
I expect her to really be able to succeed in her initiatives. She'll provide, I think, a really positive leadership to see those actions come into fruition.
I never thought that when I first got on the Alabama Board of Architects that 12 years later that I would be seeing myself as president of NCARB. I really owe it to a lot of people who encouraged me, and just the hard work of everybody involved that has helped develop me into being able to step into this position this year. I think along the way that all the challenges that I've faced in my life, whether it was playing volleyball while studying architecture, or whether it was just the challenges in leadership and coming up through my firm, has really brought me to this point and helped me grow as a leader so that I can take this position as president.